Assalamualaikum and welcome back to Coding with T. Today we are going to learn how to design checkout screen in Flutter. Checkout screen is also a crucial part of any e-commerce application. So we have to make sure that along with the design or user usability should be perfect. So first of all, let's quickly have a look what we are going to create. Our application is running. Currently, we are inside our home screen and our user is already logged in. Down below, let me add few items in the cart. Also add one variation. Two items, cart is added. Let's head back and at the top we can click on this button to see the cart. So we have currently two items in the cart. We can add more items. We can also remove these items or we can add it. You can see checkout total screen is also updating. When we're going to click on this checkout, at the top we have two products, and the only change between the previous cart and the list of products is that we cannot add or update items over here. Then at the bottom we have a promo code screen which we can do the apply as well. Then at the bottom we also have subtotal, shipping fee, tax fee, and order total. We can change the payment method from the list of payment methods. Let's say we're going to select the Paytm maybe or the Visa. So any selected payment is also being updated over here. Then in the shipping address, if you follow the previous addresses screen tutorial, you already know that we learn how to create all these type of addresses. So once we added those addresses, we can also add or directly select those addresses right over here. And at the bottom, we can also click on this add new address directly to add address. These things come in the user usability, which is the UX. So at the top, let's say we have selected some payment and when you're going to click on this checkout, you'll do the processing and our payment is now successful. This means that our order is now currently placed. So this is what we're going to create in today's tutorial. So let's get started. Flutter e-commerce application, and we have already completed section 1 for the basics, section 2 related to all the login screens, and section 3 is the last section where we are going to design everything. So design is about to be over. From now onwards in the next sections we will start doing the backend. So let's get started with today's checkout tutorial. Inside Android Studio e-commerce project we are creating. So this is the previous screen, card or dart. If you already followed the previous tutorial, you know that we created a simple scaffold at the with the upper, then with the default space we have items in the cart, and at the bottom using bottom navigation bar we created fixed button which is checkout button. So because we want to reuse these list of cart items on the next screen, checkout screen, so first we have to in the cart go to widgets. We have an empty stateless widget which is T cart items. So let's go to T cart, right click on this list view, go to refactor, extract Flutter widget, name it T cart items. Because we already have a class, so we are simply going to cut these list of items from here. Go to cart items inside this widget. Instead of this column, let's paste our code, add required imports. Once we have cart items over here, we can also import the cart items using simply T cart items. Add a constant at the top and we are done with the design. Now let's add to cart items. In here we can add one extra check, which you can see we have cart item currently displaying with the one single row, T cart item at the top, which is the first row element. Then we have a space, and after a small space we have two buttons. Using this row we have first size box with a fixed space, then we have two buttons, and at the end we have the price. So in the checkout we don't want to display or let the user to change these prices. It's all up to you. You can do the modifications because it's very simple. So at the top, let me create a final boolean type of variable. Final boolean show add remove buttons. We also have to add this variable in the constructor, remove this required, and by default we are going to make this true. By default these buttons will remain visible. So in here, because we will also want this extra space, so we will write if statement. If this show add remove button is true, we want to display the size box. For that we have to remove this constant and add constant elsewhere. Also let me copy this if statement and paste it right below this row. Hit enter, add a constant. So now we're going to check that if show add remove buttons variable is true, we will display the space, and after that we will display this complete row. This if is only going to work on the specific widget right next to this if. So once done, in here we are calling cart item, but instead we have to call the t cart items. Import this package. Recently we added t cart item, which is a single item, but we want to display the t list of cart items, which is over here right in the widgets. So when you hover over this, you can see we have show add remove button by default is true, so it is displaying. Now head towards our tutorial. In the checkout, open the checkout screen. So same like the cart, we are going to use the custom tab bar. So copy this. Also remove the constant from the top. Control Alt L. So this is the current or the custom app bar we are using preferred size widget. So if you don't know to create custom app bars, you can watch the previous videos. Okay, after this title, we have to replace this cart with order review. Next, as body of the scaffold, we are going to use the single child scroll view to keep our screen scrollable. As child of this scrollable element, we are going to use the padding to add space around all the screen sides, which will be t sizes dot default space. Default space is 24, so t sizes class is a constant class created in utils in the constants right over here, like sizes, colors, enums. Next to this, as a child of this padding, we have to add a column. Then in the children of this columns, the first thing, simply we're going to use t cart items again with a show add remove buttons to false. And then at the bottom, we have a size box to add space between sections, which is 32 space. Let's add a constant at the top. Let's run this application. At the top, we have created the cart with the list of items. Now inside this cart, when we're going to click on this button, which is the elevated button right over here, we have to redirect screen to checkout screen. So I am going to use get.to with the getx library. You can use any other method suitable. If you're not using the getx, call the checkout screen, add a constant, save the code, click on this checkout, and you can see we have list of items created. Currently we're displaying all the cart items we have inside this cart. So at the top we have 10 items, so let me reduce it to 2, and you can see we have 2 items currently in the cart. After items in the cart, we want to create a coupon field to let the user enter a coupon. Again here, the first thing, I've added a small same space t between sections after this text field. So first we have to create t rounded container to create a custom container around this text field, because the text field is not the actual text field covering complete width. So we have to make sure that text field should not cover the complete width, and also we want to add a button next to it. So we have a custom rounded container which has a default container, width and height properties, padding, margin, then a box decoration with a color, border radius, and also show border property, and we can also pass the border color as well. So by default we have show border false, radius is radius large, which is 16.0, background color is white, and border color is border primary. So first we want to make show border variable to true. Then at the top of this build method, let's create a variable which is going to check that if current application is having dark mode or the light mode. So we are going to use the is dark mode feature of helper functions, which is going to simply check theme dot of context and brightness is equal to dark. It will return true. Over here, to show background color of this rounded container, we will simply use background color. If it is dark, then we will display the color background as dark, and otherwise we will display the white color. Add a comma at the end, and also remove this constant. Next, we want to add a padding. So I'm going to use the padding with the only, all the spacings will be small spacing for the top, bottom, and right, but for the left, we are going to use the medium space. So medium is 16, small is 8. So I'll show you why we are going to use medium as a left. Now the container is created. Let me save it, and you can see currently the borders with the background, and definitely padding is not visible. So as a child of this container, we are going to create a row because we have to create two elements. The first one is text field, second one is a button. So let's use text form field over here, and we have to use the decoration property, input decoration, add a label, not label text. This time we are going to use hint text, which is have a promo code, enter here. So hint text will replace whenever we start writing, but label text is the hard text which will shift or animate towards the left top side, but we don't want that. So let's save it. We cannot see anything. Let's go to run, and in here we definitely have an error. An input decorator, which is typically created a text field, cannot have an unbounded width. This means that when we are going to use the text field inside a row, we cannot use it. So to make it work, we have to wrap this text field with a widget which is flexible, not a flex, the flexible widget. Let's save it. And you can see we have a widget with a border. When we highlight this, it is going to use the theme style we created in section 1 in the themes text field theme. So this is the style it's currently taking, but we don't want this style to be applied in this specific case. So currently you can only see the border. This means that we just have to remove the borders. So let's first go with the focused border. Using input border dot none, we can remove the border, but we also have to remove other borders. The first one is the border itself. Then we have focus border, enable, error, and disable border in case if anyone might appear in the design. So that's why it's good to keep everything intact. Let's save it. And now you cannot see any border. It's good to keep comments. We want to add button over here. So Control Alt L. Next. Inside this same container, we want a button. So let's use elevated button. On press is currently not doing anything. Create a text as a child and name it apply. Let's save this. And you can see a small apply button. Just because we have flexible over here, that's why we are able to add anything else right inside this row. Otherwise, this text field will take all the space. To increase the width of this button, we have to wrap it with a sized box. And the width, I am going to use 80. Control Alt L. Let's save this. And now our button is looking pretty nice. Control Alt L. If you want to design this specific button, as in my case, I want to change the background and the foreground colors. So we have to use the style property because it is elevated button. So use elevated button dot style from to keep all the styles, but just we are going to design few specific things with the foreground color. If the dark mode is selected or if the dark mode is on, we want to display the white color with opacity 0.5. Else we want to display the dark color with the opacity 0.5. Same for the background color. We want to use gray with opacity 0.5. And for the borders, we're going to use the border side color gray with opacity 0.1. Let's save it. And you can see currently it seems as disabled, but later on when we start typing anything in this, or button style should be changed to the primary style. So we'll see that later on when the backend will be created. So after this promo code, we first have to extract this widget. So right click on this container, refactor, extract flutter widget, coupon code, refactor, extract it from here, go to common, go to widgets. In here, search for products because coupon is related to the products. We 90 times apply coupons on the products. Products can be digital, variable, single type of product. So inside the cart, because it's related to cart, create a new file, coupon widget.dart, hit enter, import material library, paste the code, add required imports. Once done, head back to checkout, import eCoupon, remove this dark because we can simply copy this, paste it right over here. We don't need to pass anything in the constructor. Import the helper functions and we are done. Now after this coupon, for the billing section, we first have to use the rounded container and make the show border to true. Use the background color. Dark mode is at the top given. If it's a dark mode, use the black color, otherwise use the white color. And the background next as a child, we have to use the column to lay out all the elements vertically. Okay, inside this column, we have to create four main things. The first one is related to pricing. Then we have a divider. Then we have payment methods and the address at the end. So let's first start with pricing. Inside checkouts, I have created two empty widgets. The first one is billing address section. We'll deal addresses over here and then a billing payment section. We will add payments inside this widget. So next to this pricing, let's call T billing payment section. Also add some space. Same, let me add also divider over here, then we will start designing. So a simple divider with nothing else, then again a space with space between items. So now inside this empty billing section, we have to create the billing details as a children's of this column. First show the subtotal. So to display text and its value, we have to use the row property. As a children of the row, first create a text with a written name subtotal, and as a style, we are going to use the body medium and remove the constant. After this text, we have to use another text. So Control D to duplicate. This time change it add a dollar sign, write some price over here, control save, and you can see we have a subtotal, but we also forget to add spacing around this rounded container. So let's add padding t sizes dot medium. Let's save it, and you can see the space now appeared. Also, we have a divider. So first we have the subtotal written because we want to push this text to the right side. We have two ways. The first one is to use the main axis alignment, and we're going to use the space between. Let's save this, and you can see we have the equal space between these two elements, but we can also use expanded widget to wrap this text inside it. So let's cut this and save it. Still, you can see this text is taking the maximum space and pushing this second text to the right side. So it's good to use less widgets. So that's why we will go with the first option. Add some space, use the t sizes again. Space between item is 16. So divide by 2 is 2. Again, if you want to use directly 8, you can use the small size, but to keep same things in design because space between item is related to the space between items. So that's why we are going to divide it with the 2. Next, same thing. Copy this one. Shipping fee is $6. Want to reduce this style or reduce the font size. So I'm going to use the label large instead of body medium. Let's save this. And you can see the shipping fee total is a bit smaller. Control D to duplicate. Also, I want to add space. So I've added text fee, same with the same text over here, and also order total with the same text, but we will change this label to title medium for the order total. Let's save it, and you can see the order total price is bit bold. Now to calculate these two things, shipping fee and text fee, if you go to the utility in the helpers, go to pricing calculator, and over here you can see I have list of already created functions which are doing all the work for you. So calculate total price, will take the product price and the location, and location will be passed to get text rate for that location. Over here you can implement for different cities different tax ratio, for maybe different regions you want to collect different tax ratio. So that's for the location wise function to calculate the tax, return some percentage of the tax. So get the tax, multiply with the product price. So we will have the tax amount. We will simply again get shipping cost based on location. If you don't have anything, you can simply pass get shipping cost directly over here. So once we have shipping cost, we have tax amount. We can add that in the product price and return the product price total back to where it's been called. We can also directly get the calculate tax and also calculate shipping fee. So you can apply these functions over here. Definitely we're going to use those functions when we will start our backend. Okay, once added all the payments, divider is also added. Let's again copy the same space. So next we want to call this not the helper function but the billing address section over here, this widget which is already created next to this billing payment in the widgets of checkout. So let's head over here next to this payment method. After adding a space, use the billing address, add a constant. Now inside this again we have column because we want to layout two things as a children. First thing is the heading. So we are going to use the section heading. It has few properties. Let's say over here in the row, in the text, we have a text with the headline small. We can also add overflow as ellipses, max lines 1. We cannot change these values, but we can change the text color, and also we can add the text button with the on press and button title. So same, I've added a title over here with the payment method. Button title is change, show action button is true. By default, show action button is true. That's mean that we don't have to add it. Let's save the code, and you can see payment method heading is being displayed. When we click on this change method, currently it's disabled. So add its on press, remove the constant. Let's save it, and now it's been enabled. When we're going to click on this change, we will display a pop-up. So first, let's add space right below it. Next, we have to display the selected payment. For that, we again going to use the row with the children. For the payment image, this time we're not going to use the rounded image. We'll use the rounded container. Width and height will be 60 and 35. As a background color, we will use helper function to check the dark mode. So it's good practice to keep things at the top. So it's a dark, we are going to use the light color, else we will use the white color. So these two are little bit different. So light is using F6 and white is directly using all the Fs. Then as a padding, we will use the small padding, which is 8.0. So as a child of this container, we're going to use the image. So as an image, we're going to use the asset image for now because we have all the images in the local assets, which is timages.paypal, which is already added in the t images. First of all, let's set to assets. In the icons, we have all the payment method images created, and you also have to declare those in the pubspec.yaml file right over here in the payment methods with a forward slash to keep all the images of that specific folder. And after that, let's head to utils. In the constants, we have image strings where we have to define all the images. Once done, make sure when you add everything and your application is running, you have to restart because images will not gonna load. Okay, as a fit property, we'll use the box contain. Next, let's add space. And after the space, we are going to use the text. I've added a PayPal image and text is again written over here. The PayPal and theme is body large. Let's save this and you can see the selected payment method is being displayed. Okay, in here, before we're going to add the address, I have just seen that I have added the address details in this payment method, which is in this widget, sorry, which is the billing address. Basically, the code we are going to use over here is related to the billing payment section in which we added all the payment amount details. So that's why we again have to create a new widget, billing amount section. So this payment section class will simply have to cut it over here and paste it inside the amount section because these all things are related to amount. And in the address section, we have to same do cut it from here, and this is all related to the payment. And also we have to change the names. This is T billing payment section. This is T billing amount section. Just copy and paste, and that's it. Add towards here, change this to this is related to amount, and currently we don't have address section, so this is related to payments. For the address, we will create the address section. So go to billing address section, import material.dart, create stateless widget, name it T billing address section. We're going to remove this placeholder with a column, and as a children, we have to follow the same procedure we did for the payment section to add the title heading. So let's copy this, paste it over here, change the name, remove this constant, import the section heading. Let's save the code. Shipping address is now visible. So first we are going to use the title of the address. Using the text, we are going to use the name of that address, which is coding witty, using a body large theme. Let's save this. And also for the column to push elements on the left side, we have to use cross-axis alignment dot start. So after the first text, we are going to use the row because we also want to display the icon over here. So icon is icons dot font, color is gray, and size is 16. Import t sizes. Next, as a text, we're going to display the phone number over here with the body medium style. Same after this address, we have to add some space first. Add comma, create a space, Control D to duplicate, remove the space from the bottom, add text, which is the address, and change the icon. Let's save it. And now you can see we have phone number and address, but at the top we have to add space, same space between items, divide by 2. Let's save it. So our product or almost the card is ready. Before going to add pop-ups in the checkout, let's go to card screen, and in here you can see we have, using bottom navigation bar, we use the padding to add spacing around the button, and we use the elevated button to create the checkout. So using the same procedure, let's copy this, go to checkout. After this body, we are going to create a checkout button. It will use again get.to to redirect to the success screen. So for the success screen, we have already learned and designed in the section 2. Go to common. In the widgets, we have success screen already created, which we can use and pass image, title, subtitle, and on press. You can also use the Lottie images over here for the animations. So we'll use this same screen. So as an elevator button, we have to call the success screen using get.to feature. Will be redirected to this success screen with the image is successful payment icon. And this is the payment success, title, subtitle, and as an on press, we will redirect to the previous screen, get out of all, to the navigation menu, which is basically use our navigation menu which we created in our first tutorial of this section 3, and will redirect by default to this home screen. So let's save this, and at the bottom you can see we can scroll our screen but our button is fixed. So let's click on this continue, and you can see our payment success screen is now visible. We can click on this continue button and we'll redirect back to our home screen. You can also redirect back to order screen here. Okay, so that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you learned something new. If you learned something new, please like the video, and if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified for all the upcoming changes. You can download the complete code, link is in the description, and also you can watch the previous videos or the complete playlist, link is in the description or from the right top corner. So once again, thank you for watching. Take care. Allah Hafiz.